I was taking care of penguins. This took such a crazy turn. I'm glad I turned the nudity off, because this... Oh! Listen, you... hold on, I got a phone call. Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. All right. Hello? Welcome to Zoochosis. This is a horror game where you tend to the animals of Pine Valley Zoo during the after hours. It seems like a regular shift. Feed the animals, tend to their illnesses, drop some bodies into the meat grinder. However, horrors reside within this prison. Before your shift even begins, you are infected by the same parasite that plagues the animals and must survive the night. Stay calm, stick to your duties, heal the animals, and of course, eliminate all mutated creatures. Welcome back to Horror Quest, where we embark on a journey to find the best and scariest horror games. Zoochosis was a rather interesting game, and I want to start by thanking the developers and their team for providing an early access key for me to play. Thanks again, guys, but don't think that just because you gave me a free copy, I will not hesitate to pull this game apart. So, without further ado, my name is Josh, also known as Floor Big Beanie, and I hope you enjoy. The story begins with us signing a contract, an NDA. We are to stay overnight to complete our tasks, and we're locked in until the job is done. But you can't be too careful, so the senior zookeeper infects us with this parasite that he may or may not cure if we do our job correctly. The premise of the game is quite simple. You take care of the animals, but the execution is harder than you think. For the first 30 minutes, we are guided through a tutorial on how each aspect of care works. First is the food. We need to not only select the right ingredients, but cut off the excess so that they don't vomit from overeating. I, of course, got a 0% deviation because I spent too much time in my youth playing games that were exactly like this. The next part is taking their temperature. Pretty standard stuff here. We also have to collect their poop, their blood, and chase them around with this microphone. Hey, does this annoy you? Huh? No? Alright, you're good. I still don't know what that does exactly. Once you collect all 4 samples, you can determine at the vet station what's wrong and can craft a medicinal dart to inject them with the right medication. It's a surprisingly peaceful experience. Although, sometimes the ones that are sick won't eat, or they won't sit still so you can't get all the samples and fully figure out what's wrong with them. Wally. I may have crafted more tranquilizers than most legal zookeepers have, but you know what? No one's watching. It's the night shift. I've noticed too that all of the ill animals will have the same disease. For example, I had 2 gorillas that had migraine, so I crafted 2 darts to cure them. There was no variation in that, and that was kind of disappointing. It would be cool to look at all the symptoms and shoot the right dart at the right animal. When I figured out that they would all have the same sickness, I would only collect samples from one sick animal and cure all of the rest. Oh yeah, and collecting the actual medication was poorly crafted. See, there are 3 types of medicine ingredients that you can use to craft whatever cure you need. However, you can run out, so you have to sift through the storage rooms in the hopes that you can find the right medicine. I had a couple of times where I didn't have enough medicine to craft a cure for them, so it was either I killed the animals with a lethal injection, or I restart my playthrough, because you can't leave the enclosure until you cure all the animals. It made for a rather irritating experience, not gonna lie, but it's really whatever. Honestly, that's the easy part. It's when trying to aim the freaking darts that I had a hernia forming. The sensitivity was worse than that 3DS camera control stick. Do y'all remember that? It was completely useless for most games, except when I was playing Monster Hunter. What also might be a problem is that when you leave to go craft said darts, one of the animals may become a giant infected monster. Slow to tranquilizer. Oh! Whoa! What the frick is that? Wow, who would have saw that coming? Welcome to the reason why I was interested in this game. So yeah, the parasites I mentioned before have infected some of the animals. They are these rare specimens that will act up on later enclosures. You need to act fast before they kill the rest of the animals. Crafting 3 lethal injections will be enough to put any of the mutated creatures down. Although, some of them have weird armor aspects. I don't know, the elephant one was very tough. And I mean that in a literal sense. The darts would bounce off his hide. Killed both Raja and Kavi before I could put him down. I was so upset. I lost all my elephants. I was trampled many times by the elephant, as well as the gorilla, but I didn't seem to die or get a game over screen. I don't think you can die, which is fantastic if you want to make a mediocre experience. What's the point? I can run into these guys all I want and not die. Cool, I guess. Also, the different infected creatures, unfortunately, they have no notable unique traits. Sure, the elephant has armor like I mentioned, and the penguin can fly, but the premise is the same. Shoot them 3 times until they die. And even then, the shooting mechanics in this game are just awful. I can't believe this is technically classified as a first-person shooter. I get it, it's not the main focus here, but you could have made the controls at least a little bit better. However, there is a loophole. You don't have to shoot them. Because remember the meat? If you mix the meat into the food, you can feed the infected animal, quenching their hunger, and everything returns to normal, for now. I didn't figure this out until much later, but this would have saved me so much hassle. There are multiple endings, and by acquiring new endings, you also unlock new animals. I get what they were going for, but I wish we just had all the animals unlocked in the first place, and we could choose which ones we wanted to visit. The way it works is after each playthrough, only one new animal is unlocked, so you have to go visit the other enclosures you've already done on a repeat playthrough. So like, the giraffe, wallaby, gorilla, and penguins, those were the 4 that were available. On my next playthrough, the elephant was available, but the wallabies were not. So it's just, I had to do the other ones, plus the elephant. So it's just kind of boring. It gets repetitive, and the gameplay loop is too boring for this many playthroughs. Still though, multiple endings was a good choice, alright? I didn't get all the endings. As a matter of fact, I believe there are 23 of them, which is a lot. But from the ones I did get, I think they were pretty good. Sometimes I would mess up my job and be fed to the mother parasite, or I would save a character from the meat grinder, and my payoff is her locking me in a room until I fully mutate. I then kill both her and the senior zookeeper, which, I mean, they kind of both deserve it. The characters in this game are as bland as can be, even the voice acting, it's very mundane. I have no care for these characters, and maybe that's not the point of this game, but you can at least make them likable. Like, I'm just tired of playing these games and I just get these characters that just have no substance whatsoever. It feels like an awkward first date with all of these characters. We just talk about the most basic stuff. Do you enjoy that burger? I do. Great. Awesome. So, do you like first dates? It's just boring. It's stupid. Sorry if I went on a tangent there, but I hate bad characters. Honestly, this game was very underwhelming, especially in the horror factor. If you guys have seen the trailers, this game is nothing like it. I was assuming that the zoo animals would break loose, mutate, and it would be our job to hunt them down, but no. Every single mutated animal plays out the same. You feed the animals, take the samples back to the cart, and it is pretty much guaranteed that once you return to the enclosure, one of the animals have mutated. Yeah, and also, by the way, you never see them mutate. There's no animation for it. They mutate off screen. Listen, I get it. It might be hard to animate that, but if you're gonna make a game based off of mutated animals, do that. I would love to explore like an entire zoo and see the subtle details of a far more sinister story. Imagine with me for a moment. There's this entire zoo that you can explore, and it's actually a facade, and it's only there to be an experiment on these mutated creatures, the parasites, and even humans. The scientists would disguise themselves as workers, tasked with kidnapping appropriate subjects to test on, or even feed them to the mother parasite. That would be a far more interesting story than what was given. And what did we get? I'm not even entirely sure. Like, we get some things about the mother parasite, but what we get is like scraps of nothing. The senior zookeeper mentions the mother a couple of times, but other than that, like, there's no lore, there's no backstory on it. They're doing tests on it, and that's about it. You can find some data logs, like, around the storage rooms, but it's mostly just, like, bland stuff. It's like, oh, I have felt the power of the parasite, and now I must crave meat. Like, that's cool, but, like, it doesn't explain anything. Now, look, not all is bad. I do like the design of the mutations. I think that's really good, but That's really the only positive I can say from a horror perspective. When it comes to this series, The Horror Quest, I'm looking for the scariest, most disturbing horror games out there. That includes atmosphere, sound design, visuals, and more. Zoochosis had virtually none of that, and if it did, it wasn't really carried in the same way, or in a very poor way. The actual mutated animals were clunky, non-threatening, and really not even that scary. You can't even die in the game, so it's just like, cool, I guess. Demeanor is so important when making a good monster, and I see that way more clearly now with Zoochosis. The mutated creatures would simply run around the enclosure, and even if they did chase me, they wouldn't really do anything. The lack of danger or any real urgency was such a loss of wasted potential. Again, the trailers looked really good, but it is nothing like the actual game. I understand I got an early copy, but you can't fix the core design of this game. When the scary parts aren't scary, it feels more like a chore to deal with rather than an exhilarating rush to experience. Ironically, my favorite part of the game was just simply taking care of the animals. I would love to have a game where there were no monsters, no like underlying lore, you just kind of take care of the zoo animals. It's such a great idea. I love the process of figuring out what they're sick with and curing them. Again, it's quite therapeutic. I have formed a bond with these animals, and I hate to see them die by a mutant, because I can't kill them because the darn controls are that of a drunk college girl. Listen, there was something here, but it was never fully realized, and it's very unfortunate. If we're looking at the game as a whole, it's alright. I would place it below average at like a 3. I'm giving it a 3. At its current price point, is it worth it? I'm gonna say no. It's $24.99. Save your money. Buy some Tootsie Rolls or something. When it comes to the spooky scale, a rating based on how scary the game was for the series, it's easy. It's a 0. I'm sorry, but there was nothing scary about this game. Nothing at all. I like the mutated designs, like I said, but that's not enough for me to give any points. I mean, even Bloodborne has more disturbing enemy designs, and it's not a horror game. I don't even care to make appropriate ambiance for this video because, again, it's just not scary. It's not worth it. That's my personal opinion though, but what's not an opinion is my dear thanks for watching this video. Listen, my content has been all over the place, but I'm starting to funnel it down to certain things. Some more Elden Ring stuff is coming out, and I just like playing horror games, man. There's gonna be a lot of horror on this channel from now on, and I just like doing it. But Elden Ring, I'm thinking about making some Monster Hunter content again, and I definitely will when Monster Hunter Wilds comes out for sure. But, you know, stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and to subscribe for more content like this. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone, and of course, stay safe.